Hello, traders. Welcome to the Saturday, January 4th market wrap up here with Woofy. Well, I want to welcome everybody to 2020. Happy New Year's to all. This is the first weekend update video, so hopefully y'all get to enjoy this. Once again, of course, this video and this channel is all about entertainment here. I'm not a professional financial advisor. My opinions should not be taken as any form of recommendations for financial investment. And if you have any questions, always speak to a licensed financial advisor and always trade within your means. Now, here we go. We wrap into the week. It was a really exciting week because we had New Year's. But what made it exciting was actually Friday day action of the market. On Thursday night, there was some news that came out on the BBC, reported that Donald Trump, president, ordered an attack on a general in Iran, which that kind of dropped the futures that night by a pretty good amount. It was down, three quarters of a percent, and I was expecting. I was kind of expecting what we kind of saw is that we'll have a drop in the morning session and a slow retrace. And what I have here is the SPY daily chart, and you can see we did have a morning drop. Um, Going into the 15-minute, I'll show you it's a little clearer here. We had a morning drop, and from there, we kind of on the first bar we had a really strong retrace up here, which got us back into the low range of Thursday's nice action. But as you can see here, that the action did not hold. I was expecting it for it to gap up and continue higher, maybe even to break even. But towards the afternoon, the market kind of sold off, and that could be due to just taking risk off of the week. Going into the weekend, there could be a lot of news that affects us on Monday, so I can see a lot of traders just want to take off what they have and lock in some profits. Actually, a lot of the gains in 2019 could be locked in 2020 to defer that tax revenue. So I was kind of expecting a kind of a choppy 2 to 3 weeks in January. And with the news from Friday, I still see that in the cards. And what I really want to see on the SPY now, if for the up move, is for it to not take out this low here. This low of 3107, 321.07 need to hold intraday at least. If this ticker breaks below this Friday lows, I can see it's definitely going down lower, and we actually could go all the way down here to the 50 MA at 312.55. That is not a crazy not a crazy idea that we can drop that much, especially with news of military action potential. The crude was up relatively high over the news. A little bit later in the video, I will have some ideas to kind of trade that, but just want to give a wrap up on the SPY here. It's still looking pretty good. Let's just see what it does on Monday. I really don't have an opinion here. I don't have any options open on the SPY, but I will look to Monday's action to determine what I do for the next few weeks. Moving on to the QQQ. QQQ also saw some action, but it caught up here. What I have here is a support level from this swing, from the previous low swing, and projected from the highs, we do have a retrace symmetry of 203.59, and that kind of corresponds to the 50 MA. So if it gets down here in the next few weeks, I definitely would be buying calls here just to take some action here, 50 MA and also symmetry retrace. Looking at the 15-minute chart, you can see this followed the SPY. It had a nice retrace at the beginning of the session, and then towards the end of the day, it sold off here. Moving on to the IWM. The IW is actually the weaker of the indexes. As you can see, it's been selling off the last few days. It did hit the 221 EMEA, so it did found some resistance here. Let me just get rid of this. It did meet, you can see here, it did meet the 1618 level at a 165.99. So it hit the 2 ATR target, and I'm not surprised that it's going to pull back a bit. And for the IWM, I'm also going to be looking for the 160.68, which is going to be the 50 MA. As long as the Moxie indicator stays above 0 and it goes to the 50 MA, I will be a buyer in the market. No, one of the things I've been following on Friday is the tick chart. If you don't know, the tick chart is a kind of a representation of up moves and down moves in the market. So if it's a uptick or a downtick, then it'll be created in a tick chart. So what I like to do is look at the 5 minute tick chart here. And on the Friday open session, we did have a low of 1,000, a minus 1,000 tick, and that also told me that we can see some buying in the market. And what I'll be using this chart is to in the future, if you're in Thinkorswim, you could just put in the dollar sign TICK, and you'll be able to track what the market's kind of doing. If we start seeing some negative 800, negative 900 ticks, I wouldn't be a buyer that day if you're looking at the long side, and especially if you're seeing some 1,000 to negative 1,000 and negative 1,200 ticks, then that could mean an end of the down move for that day. So if you're on the short side, I would be looking to cover. And if it's positive ticks, then that just means more of a going along with the flow of what we've recently seen. So throughout the Friday, it wasn't really that crazy here. We had some thousand ticks and then it just went back up. But I will be looking at this tick chart in the next few days and following to see how the market is behaving. And for this tick chart, I like to use the 5 minute here. Another thing I want to point out too is the put call ratio. Currently, the put call ratio is at a 0.7184, and this is indicative of more calls in the market than puts. So this is kind of a contra indicator. If this is low, then I would see that the market might rebalance and some traders might be buying puts. And with the news here, I am looking for this to, if we get any down move, this put call ratio should be moving up. And for me to get back into the market long, if it does start moving up, I would like to see a 1.2 number, and that just means there's way more calls than puts. There's 1.2 puts to every single call, and usually that's a good sign of the end of selling. So we might be able to get this in the next week or so. It could happen in a day depending on what news come up on Monday. But this is just something I want to point out to all the traders out there that I'm going to be focusing on, and I'm going to be following this up, on the Monday video to see where we're at, and then we'll take it from there. Now, with this kind of action and this news coming out, what I like to do is kind of look at some hedges. And one hedge I like to look at one ticker I look at is the SPY. And let me just go to the analyze chart here. What I want to do is, since we're kind of already a few days into January, I might actually want to look at a February week monthly here. And I am interested in this Delta 30s here. This 314 for February does look interesting to me. So if the market starts selling off, I will be picking up some hedges on the SPY, and that's going to be a short play on the SPY at 314. So it's going to be a hedge, but also going to be a short trade. The hedge is going to be, I'm not going to be selling my longs just yet, but I will be putting on some puts here if we start getting more bad news. The weekend will be very telling, and what news come out this weekend could determine what we see in the next few weeks. So just to point out to everybody, I am looking at the Delta 30s for February. This SPY February 21 expiration and 314 strike. You can see here it's $3.11 and 314, so it's pretty close in the spread. And I'm gonna probably pick up two of these just to get my, just get some exposure on the downside here. I don't like trading. I'll talk to some other traders on Friday, and then people were mentioning trading the VIX. I don't particularly like trading the VIX most of the time because it's really just a kind of a really a hit or miss trade. It's only a few times in the year that you can see there's a huge rage in action. So most of the time it's going to be stay pretty quiet and a down move. But if you're interested, you could definitely look at options on the VIX, or you can trade the VIX or the UVIXC here. So that's something that you can look into. You can see on Friday it was up fairly on a good amount. So You can do that, but I'm really gonna stick to my spy, and even I'll be even looking at some transports here too. With the oil going up, I see transports can be hurt. So I'll rather be trading the transports and the SPY versus the VIX. So on that end, I would like to talk about, just kind of, I can't escape what's going on with the news, right? So what I'm interested in is also longing some defense names, and some defense names were really, really strong on Friday, but it was really strong Friday in the morning, but it kind of sold off throughout the day. You can see here RTN is Raytheon. If we look at the 30-minute chart here, it kind of had a nice boost in the morning and sold off, and it's building this really nice bull flag here. So I want to keep on following this to see if there's any opportunities. You see, there's a squeeze on the 15-minute, and let's just see what the hourly is. Hourly is looking kind of nice too. So the three names I'm following is Raytheon RTN, Lockheed Martin LMT. Lockheed Martin had a great day, and it's kind of breaking out. You see the Moxie indicator also just recently turned positive. So if this comes down in a few days, then I might just pick it up. I think this is a good these trades, these tickers I'm bringing up to you. I think they're just good tickers in general, and if we get some down move here, I would like to pick it up and just have it as a long trade. And if we get more news coming out, that's kind of going to be pointing towards military action or further action, then these three tickers are definitely going to be good ways to hedge the downside. And on Northrop Grumman, you can see that the squeeze here actually fired to the long side, and you can see had a great day, had a 5% day. This is so I'm gonna be using all these three tickers, and the one I'm interested in is RTN. I got stopped out a little earlier a little later, like late in the month December, but I'm gonna look to get into this again. The Moxie indicator looks great. The squeeze fired, and so those are the three names I like in the defense: is RTN, LMT, and NOC. Now, moving on to some tickers that I have. I actually got into CGC on, I think it was like December 31st. It was the day before. It was the day before New Year's, and the reason why I got into it is the Moxie indicator fired up here. It triggered to the positive side, and there's a squeeze building. And two trading sessions ago, they had a nice move, nice 11% mover day. So I like to see that as like strong action, even though it's below the 200 MA. Um, I think there might be some bottoming in the weed industry here, in the weed sector. So I just picked up I picked up one option that day, and as it came down the following day, I picked up another one on Thursday. And Friday action wasn't as it wasn't something I want I liked. As you can see here is on the 15 minutes, like they had a nice up move following with the market, but it sold out throughout the day. One positive note still going for it is that it is still a bit above the 50 MA. And with the squeeze, it could definitely chop around, but the Moxie indicator is up. This is above zero, and this is holding the 50 MA. So I'm going to hold it a few more days and see where this can take me. I still have another tickers. I still have JetBlue. JetBlue had a nice bottoming day on Friday. It hit the 200 MA, and it kind of rallied from there. It was down significantly in the morning, so it was nice to see that action. The squeeze is still building, and it's kind of compressing more here. As you can see, it's just straight red dots here, and the Moxie indicator is still above zero. So I'm still holding this ticker here. I'm probably more than about 6%. Just lost about 40% on my options, but I think if we see some positive days next week, this will definitely make a move, and I'm hoping still to take it off around this 2 ATR at 1960. And on the next ticker I have is I picked this up on Thursday's BLMN, and the reason I like this is because the Moxie indicator is above zero, the price is around the 50 MA. It closed a little bit below on Friday, which is makes sense. The market is a little choppy right now due to external no news, not just internals here, and there's a squeeze here. So I have two options in this. I picked up for pretty cheap. They expired on uh, on Jan 17th, so I'm still holding that. Um, no, it's not. I don't want it to have all boom and gloom. So I do have a ticker I'm looking at is PCAR. PCAR is really interesting to me because there's a squeeze here, and you can see this kind of retraced down to the 50 MA. It's still green candles, and it's really held the 50 MA on Friday. It hit it, and then went up. I didn't get into it because of just kind of the news, what's going on, but I'm gonna be really following it on Monday. If we start getting some good indicators on Monday, some quietness, then I am really gonna be picking up an option here. And what option I like is actually the January series. I know it's a little close, but I think we could get some moves. And the 77 dollars and 70 cents looks pretty nice to me here at 0.62 delta. So if we get any good news or any signs that tell me that we're gonna at least have some calm in the next few days, then I am gonna be looking into this, pick this up. But if just a warning, if there is some news that come out on Sunday or some countermeasures from Iran, then I'm gonna really step back from the market, wait for the pullback, because if we go back on the SPY, the 50 MA is pretty far away. We have about another 100 handles on the S&P before we get there. So we could be in for some heavy selling in the next few weeks, and just to always have that in the back of your mind that news can come up anytime. With with the way our president operates, is a tweet or there can really shift the dynamic in the market, right? But on the other hand, we still have the Federal Reserve holding, supporting the market, backing the not raising interest rates. So this is kind of like a counterbalance of where we're going to go from here. And I'm really going to have more information by Monday. So hopefully I'll be able to give you guys some more information on the general market and what I'm going to do for the next few weeks. I will be going on vacation on January 10th, so there won't be a video on for a week or so after that, but I'll be back in trading the options. And with that, I hope everybody has a great weekend and see everybody on Monday. Have a great time with your family, your friends, and enjoy life. And Happy New Year's.